The standard of female beauty has always been central to human society. It sets the level for other women, which ultimately changes the sexual preferences of men and eventually the gene pool too. Now, valuing health, one would argue, is better for the future of humanity, but that's not what's happening. Indeed, it's a little bit worse than that, Leilani. It seems lately the standard of beauty, at least in the fashion industry, the pinnacle of femininity is now to be a man. How do you feel when you see women in the modelling industry being replaced by male influencers who play act at being women and proclaim themselves to be better than women?
Well, this is another problem. We've seen this as well in beauty pageants and, as you say, in the fashion industry, all over advertising billboards. And even in England, I think it was, you saw a cartoon of a woman with a mastectomy, as part of, this pride and inclusivity. So again, I think it's really dangerous. It's setting a standard. It's saying to young girls that you don't be comfortable as who you are, change everything about it, and don't change it in a healthy way. Go and get surgery, do these crazy, spontaneous, permanent things to yourself. And I think the whole thing is extremely dangerous for young people, and I'm not saying that, having a beautiful pinup, it should ever be a role model. What I'm talking about is the health aspect. And it's always good to have somebody, healthy, or a sports person, somebody engaging in lots of physical activity and taking care of themselves. And the problem is as well, it's the pressure on the health system. We got told, you and I got told, that we're the kind of people filling up, the hospitals, a few years ago. But what is really filling up the hospitals? Diabetes, type 2 diabetes, heart problems, obesity-related issues. So all of this is a really big problem, I think, for young people growing up and trying to see, what is a good health standard? Because, you see it on adverts, like you see Nike using obese people, and it's almost like a shock value. It's the shock value of it. And so what is the standard or what is a healthy role model for young kids?
Well, look, we'll talk about the companies that engage in this in just a second, but everyone can look at this idea of getting too much Botox, where the poor girls, they're only like 17 or 20, they've got these huge lips and they've done terrible things to their faces, and you go, that's not a good thing to teach children to do. Like, that's not a good idea for young women to go down. You can see these other things, like where they start getting these terrible piercings and tattoos, and parents go, I don't want that to be the role model for my kids. For some reason, we can understand poor role models in that respect. But then when you try and say, well, we don't really want morbid obesity to be the role model for young women, oh, how dare you, can't say that, you're not allowed to shame it. But there are toxic industries that in social media, like places like TikTok and YouTube particularly is probably the worst, where you've got things like mukbang, where they make money out of these young people stuffing their faces with food until they're physically ill. And then you've got fashion influencers who, they might be a size 24, 26 US, and they make a lot of money trying on clothes, and then as soon as they start losing weight, they lose all their income. So they're monetized to stay unhealthy as part of this bizarre industry. Is that what you're worried about, this toxic environment that's being created around health?
Absolutely, and it really is. And then you like you say, there's so many people now that are making money from it. The videos are absolutely crazy when you see these people, like, on YouTube, just stuffing their faces, and it's almost like fetish-like. I just can't really understand it, and how that's become almost acceptable, and that if you talk about it in a negative light, you're, a fatphobe or a body shamer, or you're unkind and cruel, when really the reality is, you want people to be healthy, because healthy people live longer, have much more comfortable lives, and less strain on all of the health services. So that's what we should be aspiring to, but it's not. And you see, I don't know whether, I try to get to the bottom of it. Is it for the clicks of the companies? Is it for the influencers just to make money? Like, where does the push come from? Is it for big pharma? Because obviously unhealthy people are their customers, and the more unhealthy people are, the more money they can make. And then on the other end, they can start pushing the weight loss drugs.